Hi, this is Governor John Carney. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Igniting Innovation Week, hosted by the Delaware Bioscience Association. Although the annual celebration is virtual this year, it's important for us to celebrate the strength of the bioscience community here in Delaware. We know that researchers and organizations in our state have been working hard over the past several months to help combat COVID-19 and other serious health challenges. Whether it's developing a vaccine and treatments for COVID-19 or strengthening our supply chain through research and new technologies, your efforts are making a real difference.
Hi, Lieutenant Governor Bethany Hall-Long. I want to thank the Delaware Bioscience Association for going virtual with Igniting Your Innovation Week. As a neuroscientist and research scientist myself, I really want to thank you for what you do in leading the way here in Delaware. Your collaborative efforts with over 7,000 employees that are represented who are doing the hard work during these difficult times, particularly during COVID. This really shines a light on the role that the Delaware Bioscience Association plays. For example, we know some of our partners are playing a key role as we search for vaccination and other treatment modalities. I just want to say thank you so much for the work that each and every one of you does. And as we do this Innovation Week, let's really celebrate and stay safe and stay well.
Hi there, I'm United States Senator Tom Carper of Delaware. And I just want to say to everyone who's a part of the Delaware Bioscience Association, thank you for all you do. Thank you for your contributions and to our state and to our country. For those of us who served in the military, one of the things we used to say in the Navy when people do a especially good job, we would say the words bravo Zulu. And I think that certainly applies here. It means good job, great job. And I'd also say bravo Zulu, but I'd say keep it up. As we need you, I'm counting on you. Thank you. God bless.
Hi, I'm U.S. Senator Chris Coons. To all the frontline healthcare workers helping people to recover, managing testing sites, or working tirelessly to develop a vaccine and find a cure, thank you for choosing to help, heal, and prevent. Science matters, you matter, and I am grateful for the Delaware bioscience community and all you do.
Our fight isn't over. We have to take the right precautions to protect ourselves, our employees, our families, and our neighbors. Staying vigilant will help us keep the progress we have already made. We'll get through this by working together and doing our part to keep each other safe. As I've said over the course of this pandemic, you can't have a healthy economy without a healthy community, and Delaware's bioscience community is helping us achieve both. Thank you for the great work that you do day in and day out, supporting Delawareans and making advances that improve the lives of your neighbors.
Greetings from the Delaware Biodome. I'm Chris Yoakum, Chairman of the Board, and I'm pleased to welcome you virtually to the Igniting Innovation 2020. Among the many challenges this year, our Life Science Association has had to defer our usual vibrant networking events and adopt an online virtual program. We also experienced a transition in leadership, and I am so pleased to be able to officially welcome Michael to his new role leading Delaware Bio's outstanding team of Jamie, Yvette, and Jenny. Together, they've continued to provide educational and informative seminars, as well as keeping our community connected, finding resources for those in need, and doing our part to help our member companies and institutions maintain business continuity and the vital research, development, and commercial activities which contribute to a vibrant ecosystem in Delaware. We recently hosted our annual open board meeting and conveyed the overall financial health of the association and the commitment of our board of directors to continue their volunteer services, for which I'm personally very grateful. I also want to thank all our member companies for your continued engagement, and especially the many sponsors who make it possible for us to host the program. And now, it's my pleasure to turn the virtual podium over to Michael Fleming, President of Delaware Bio, who will share some of the highlights of the program celebrating the people, the companies who are making a difference despite the challenges we face. Michael, over to you.
Thanks, Chris. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to day one of Delaware Bio's Igniting Innovation Week virtual gala. As Chris said, I'm Michael Fleming, president of Delaware Bio, and I'm delighted to introduce our week-long celebration of all you've achieved over the last year. While unfortunately we cannot gather in person to share and recognize our community's extraordinary innovation and achievements, we wanted to be sure we still had an appropriate and exciting way of highlighting and thanking our members. So this week, we'll be shining a light on work that ranges from combating the global pandemic to efforts underway every day across the state to help people across the globe live healthier, happier lives. Throughout the week, we look forward to showcasing those innovations and thanking all of you who are making it happen. Along the way, we will see features on industry leaders and creative, devoted scientists, research changing the lives of patients, including children. We will learn about important new products, efforts to expand bioscience businesses, an incubator space for entrepreneurial growth, and new deals allowing for unique opportunities and game-changing advancements in healthcare and the life sciences. There has clearly never been a time when the immense value of Delaware's bioscience industry is more apparent. We hope you'll enjoy this virtual gala. We're all still getting used to living in the virtual world and certainly would prefer to get together in person. But we believe this week-long event, with short webinars and videos each day, with a grand finale Friday, including a number of exciting giveaways, actually provides us an opportunity to reach a much broader audience with the inspiring stories of our world-class researchers and innovators. And each day after our program concludes, we'll be posting the video to our website and social media, so please feel free to share that. Of course, this week's virtual extravaganza is made possible thanks to our outstanding sponsors. We couldn't be more grateful for their support. They include VWR, Nemours Alfred I. DuPont Children's Hospital, QPS, Labware, and Insight. To kick things off this week, we're now delighted to share a fireside chat with Ruud Dobber, Executive Vice President and President of the Biopharmaceuticals Business Unit at AstraZeneca, and Philip Amoa, a partner with the law firm of McCarter & English and a Delaware Bio board member. Philip and Ruud were slated to get together live on stage at this year's gala, but instead we're able to connect them through the wonders of modern technology. Before we go to the interview, I lastly want to give a special thanks to VWR for their sponsorship of today's presentation. And with that, now over to you, Philip.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fireside chat portion of Delaware Bio's Igniting Innovation Week. My name is Philip Amoa. I'm a corporate partner at McCarter & English and also corporate secretary of Delaware Bio. I'm joined here today by Ruud Dobber, Executive Vice President at AstraZeneca. Ruud, thank you very much for joining us here today. We usually would have had this fireside chat portion in person, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to resort to a virtual fireside chat, but I am sure it's going to be all that more entertaining and intriguing conversations for our audience today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Philip, and I will do my best.
Thank you. So, Ruud, I want to first start off by saying a big thank you. I mean, we are in a global crisis and pandemic, and I, as much as everyone else, knows the amount of work that you and the team at AstraZeneca have put into trying to advance and find a vaccine for the COVID-19 virus. We're very much following your work with your partner, Oxford University, and working towards a trial and a vaccine. And I'm sure a lot of our audience would be interested in hearing from you. What's the status of the trials and when can we expect to have a vaccine ready?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question, Philip. And it is absolutely true that of course the whole world is watching a couple of the companies, including AstraZeneca. And I have to say I'm incredibly proud about our efforts. So many dedicated employees are working tirelessly in order to find a solution for this terrible health crisis and economic crisis in the world. So let me give you a little bit of a quick overview of where we are from a vaccine development. The good news is we are in the last stage of the clinical development program of our vaccine. And that means that we are in phase 3 of our clinical trial. And in fact, we have 2 very large clinical trials ongoing. One is done out of the UK. It's the UK, Brazil, and South Africa. And the other one is a large clinical trial in the United States. If everything goes well, and there's a big if here, because as always, we are very dependent on the number of infections, the number of events, in order to come to the assessment whether our vaccine is safe and effective. But assuming that everything is going well, we hope to have a data set of roughly 50-60,000 volunteers in the Q4 of this year, probably somewhere in November, December, January, once again, depending on the attack rate. And hopefully that will give us an indication whether the vaccine, first of all, is safe in order to give to hundreds of millions of people around the world, but equally is effective, that it is preventing the infection with the COVID-19 virus. So that's one very large effort. But of course, linked to that, we are also building what we are calling different supply chains. At the moment we have the registration for the vaccine, it's very important that we can vaccinate the people. And therefore we have built up capacity up to 3 billion doses around the world. There's a specific supply chain in the United States, there's one in the UK, one in mainland Europe, and one in India, together with the Serum Institute. And you can imagine that it is a massive effort in order to produce more than 3 billion doses. So it's all hands on deck. It's a very inspiring project, and we can only cross our fingers that it will be successful, because the world clearly needs to have a safe and effective vaccine.
Right. Well, thank you. We're keeping our fingers crossed, because we know the impact this vaccine will have, again, on us economically. And how are you dealing with the pressure of being charged, of finding, of delivering a vaccine? How are you and the leadership at AstraZeneca dealing with that pressure?
Yeah, for sure. There is pressure, because you want to do something good for societies. You want to do something good for the people and the physicians we are serving. And of course, like every other individual, it hurts your heart if you see terrible situations in hospitals. It's very sad to see people dying from this very nasty coronavirus infection. But it also gives you a huge motivation. You get literally the inspiration and the ambition to work 24/7 in order to do your best, in order to work on the manufacturing side, to work on the clinical development side. Because as an extra element, I also would like to mention that AstraZeneca has committed that if the vaccine is safe and effective, to provide the vaccine during the pandemic at no profit, which is quite a unique proposition as well. But therefore we are even more passionate in order to work hard, work in the weekends. But equally, it's not only the leadership. We have so many people in our research and development, as well as in our manufacturing organization, literally working in very long shifts in order to do their best to make this vaccine successful.
Yeah. And there's a saying that if you want something done, give it to a busy person. In this context, AstraZeneca is working on many other critical projects, and now we have this new, innovative vaccine that you're working on. How are you dealing and coping with managing some of those other critical projects that AstraZeneca has been working on, while dealing with, again, the pressure of trying to come up with a safe and effective vaccine for COVID-19?
Yeah, Philip, and that's another excellent question. AstraZeneca is clearly on the way back in order to anchor itself as one of the very top pharmaceutical companies. We have seen a phenomenal growth in the last few years on the back of a very focused strategy, I have to say, where you can only spend the money once, as you know. And we're spending our money on the oncology side, and we have seen in the last few years a couple of absolute breakthroughs in the field of lung cancer, ovarian cancer, and we are very proud about that. Equally, it's my responsibility to help the business and to push the business into other very large therapeutic areas. One is cardiovascular, renal, and metabolism, and the other one is respiratory, immunology, and anti-infectives. And it is incredibly pleasing to see that the innovation is coming through. But equally, we realize every day that there's still a high unmet medical need in those three core therapeutic areas. So let's not forget that what we have seen during the COVID-19 is very sad for those patients who got infected, who were in the hospital and even were dying. But equally, the collateral damage we have seen during COVID-19, people are not getting their medication for cancer, they are not getting their medication for severe asthma or COPD. That's a devastating effect as well. And therefore, the ambition for us as a company to work on that as well is very high. And stay tuned. We are very bullish about the outlook of the company and the progress we are making in those therapeutic areas.
Right. Well, I want to pick up on something you said about being an innovative science company and your shift and focus in the oncology and cardiovascular space. But let me just ask a follow-up question to a comment you made about the number of people that are working tirelessly to ensure we have a vaccine, which in most cases, some of this work, I assume, is being done remotely with respect to some of the talent. How has that been, and are there any plans to get people back into the office?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and our company is based on collaboration, ideation, and driving innovation. And I have to admit, there are a lot of elements you can do from your house, from your study room. There's no doubt, and equally myself and other executives of the company and so many other dedicated employees have done that. But equally, I'm now back in the office for 5-6 weeks, and I found it very energizing, to be very honest, to see colleagues, to have simple things like a chat at the coffee machine, just to challenge each other and not being always in a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting. If you really want to drive innovation and collaboration, once again, you can do a lot from home, but I think physical, to be physically together, I think is crucial to do that. So I'm doing my best. I'm using my charm to get people back in the office. So far, I'm so successful, but let's see how it will develop in the next few weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ruud. Why don't we shift gears a little bit to talk about AstraZeneca and the bio industry? And you did mention, the innovation and the innovative part about AstraZeneca and your focus and increasing focus in the oncology and cardiovascular space, which is clearly paying off for AstraZeneca, which is very great. What do you see next for AstraZeneca in the industry by way of innovation?
Yeah, so we still, as innovators, you need to dream. And there are a couple of elements where if I dream or we dream a little bit as an executive team, is regeneration of tissues. And let me take a cardiovascular event, a heart attack, as an example. If you are unfortunate to get a heart attack, that part of the heart after the heart attack is literally dead. There was no oxygen. And if you are lucky, you were on time in the hospital in order to get a procedure and to open the artery where there was a blockage. But behind that artery, the tissue more or less is dead, and therefore the heart function has diminished quite substantially after a heart attack. And how beautiful would it be if there are techniques in order to create new blood vessels in the affected parts of the heart? Now, it sounds a little bit as science fiction, but this whole area of tissue regeneration, cell therapy, is still very early. And personally, I'm incredibly excited that probably not in the next 5 years, but probably in the next 8, 9, 10 years, you will see completely new therapies that you are not only treating complications, but that you're also going to treat organs. And personally, I found that absolutely fascinating. It's already quite successful in animal experiments. We're doing now the first experiments in humans. in order to create new blood vessels in affected organs, and let's see whether it is going to work and whether it is practical to implement, because of course it requires a complete new set of capabilities than just developing a pill or an injectable. So, but it's in my view, it's absolutely exciting in order to see what is potentially possible in the next 10 years.
Yeah. Sci-fi, as you say, but this is real science, and we're hoping for breakthroughs, because we know, such a breakthrough definitely has an impact on our society and the people that, unfortunately suffer from some of these heart attacks. I assume talented people must be a central focus for you and the leadership team at AstraZeneca. My question, Ruud, is what kind of qualities and attributes do you look for as you continue to build your ranks, be it your scientists and other future leaders at AstraZeneca?
Yeah, I think it comes back to the core of our company, our ambition and our purpose, and we are a science-led company. So if you like science, I truly believe that this is the place to be. We have articulated now already 6-7 years ago 5 values, and for example, one of those values is we follow the science and we put patients first. And that sounds simple if I pronounce it, but to really implement that across almost 80,000 employees across the whole world is quite an effort. But wherever you are in an AstraZeneca affiliate, whether you are in China, Australia, Europe, or in the United States, I dare to say the moment you're stepping into our offices or you're talking to our employees, you almost feel that they are science, that they represent the science, and you need to have an enormous passion for what you would like to accomplish. Personally, what I'm always saying to the people here internally, I feel very privileged. I'm a former scientist myself, that I'm working for a company who is really trying to make an impact on so many patients in the world in order to help them, in order to fulfill a better life. Now, of course, you need to be humble. Medicines are only one part of the solution. You need to have excellent physicians. You need to have good equipment. But medicines, in many cases, are a very cost-effective way in order to make patients better and to give them a better life. And I found it absolutely fascinating to see how the science will translate in a real medicine which patients can take.
Why don't we, we're here at the Delaware Bio and Delaware Igniting Innovation Week, so why don't we shift focus a little bit to talk about Delaware? AstraZeneca has deep roots and a renewed focus on Delaware. What are your priorities and goals in terms of your Delaware presence?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm still very grateful that we have always had the political support in order to do business in Delaware. Senators and especially Senator Carper has been extremely supportive of having such a large company like AstraZeneca in the Delaware state. Equally, I think it's a privilege for us to be here. But equally, I think also that we can do even more in Delaware. This is the home of 2 large pharmaceutical companies, Incyte and AstraZeneca. But below that, there are many other smaller companies, and I think we really need to try to work even more together, including with the universities in Delaware, to create a vibrant environment. Of course, this Delaware will not be the next Boston or the next San Francisco anytime soon. That was built in so many years, but equally, there's no reason not to have that level of ambition. I think some of the best universities are very close to Delaware, whether it is Penn State, whether it is New York, and Washington. So you are in a very nice spot, and also including in New Jersey, where you can build something very special. Now, at least I'm very committed in order to contribute wherever I can, and equally, I hope that other stakeholders have the same opinion, because the whole biotech industry, and unfortunately COVID-19 has shown the incredible importance of this industry, not only for now, but also for the future. And I don't like to say it, but I will say it up front. COVID-19 probably is the beginning of many more outbreaks we are going to see in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And I think the more we can prepare ourselves, the more we are doing in vaccine technology, in prevention, the better it will serve the citizens we are all serving.
Yeah. So what would you say to leaders in Delaware and across the country about the kind of talent need for your business to thrive and grow and to continue to provide these life-changing innovation?
Yeah, keep stimulating innovation. I see myself a little bit as a global corporate citizen. I've worked and lived almost in every continent, and I'm not saying it because I want to be nice to this fantastic country, but sometimes I don't think that Americans, the American leaders, are recognizing how innovative this country is. And my big plea is, do not destroy this. Invest in education. Keep investing in your universities. Keep investing in the bioscience industry. You are so great in this country to do it. And let's have a healthy debate about pricing of medicines, the cost. I get it. I truly get it. But equally, be proud about what this country has built over so many years and the innovation and the groundbreaking medicines and therapies which this country has developed. It would be a pity to lose that and to leave it to other continents. The United States is the house of innovation, and keep doing that.
Yeah. Well, Ruud, you've had an incredibly diverse career spanning many roles and, as you said, many countries and regions. And I'm sure you have, a very good perspective living in different countries. What are some of the lessons you've learned over time about leading people and talent?
Yeah, it's relatively straightforward, and it's certainly not rocket science. First of all, be curious. Show absolutely a genuine interest in people. When I went for my first posting in the Far East, and my kids were still very, very little, it was a bit scary. There was a level of anxiety, but it was so fantastic to learn Chinese people, Indian people in Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Korea, Taiwan, and I really see that as a privilege. I've worked for a long time, of course, as a European in Europe, in my home country, in the Netherlands, in Brussels and London. But equally, I've been responsible for the Middle East and Africa and Russia, and the way they are doing business and the cultural aspects in those countries is fundamentally different from what I've seen in Asia. And again, it was a massive learning for myself. And then I'm here now for the last 4 years, and I see what I call the can-do spirit of Americans. Yes, American people are demanding. They want to know what they do, like in every business, but they're also very innovative. They have a very much a can-do spirit. So that's another learning. So be curious. That's one. The second piece is push yourself sometimes to get out of your comfort zone. I really get it that not everyone is mobile in the world. But even if you are not mobile, push yourself. You can do so much more than you realize. I'm a former scientist. I was never in the business, and I can tell you I'm not a genius. But if you want to learn, if you want to push yourself out of your comfort zone, you can do so much more. And then the last piece is hopefully also true for yourself, Philip. Do where your passion is. Hopefully your passion is to be in law. My passion is to be in science and to bring medicines to patients. If that's your passion, life is relatively straightforward and very nice. And that's what I'm always telling people, young people in the organizations I've been. Those three elements have guided my career so far.
Well, thank you very much. We have one quick question for you before we wrap up. Are there any particular, and this could be just a short response, but are there any particular insights you've learned since the pandemic started?
Yeah, I think the resilience of people. I think it's fair to say that when everything was closing down in March, there was a level of anxiety. But I'm incredibly proud of what I've seen in AstraZeneca, that people have really done their best to keep the business running while also managing families, sometimes very difficult situations. And I think it's a testimony for the culture, at least we have built in AstraZeneca, but it is also a testimony of who we are as human beings. If it is getting tough, people are coming together, trying to help each other. And therefore, yes, the world is sometimes a difficult place. It's a hard place. But equally, I've also learned that if it is really tough, people are coming together in order to help each other. And I think that's a very nice observation.
Well, that's great, Ruud. Well, I could sit here and talk to you more about your time on different continents, but I'd like to say a big thank you for spending this day with us and sharing with us what you've been working on at AstraZeneca and part of your career and lessons. And I'm sure this is going to be very useful to our audience. So thank you very much for taking the time, and it's been a great pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you so much, Philip.
Thank you. I'm Philip Amoa, and it's been a pleasure moderating this fireside chat with Ruud Dobber, Executive Vice President, AstraZeneca. Now over to Michael Fleming.
Thanks, Philip and Ruud, and congratulations, AstraZeneca, on all you're doing to help people live healthier lives. I'd also like to thank our board member, Julie Garner, with AstraZeneca, and recognize their deep commitment to Delaware. Thanks to all the sponsors of this week, including Brian Hay and VWR, for serving as presenting sponsor for today's presentation. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into the program. We'll see you tomorrow for day 2 of Igniting Innovation Week at 12 noon, where we'll be focusing on innovation that's transforming the lives of children. We'll see you then.